All right, welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. You know, week after week, we usually dig into pretty complex stuff. Research papers, dense reports, big data sets. But today we're actually doing something a little different. And honestly, it's given us some, well, surprisingly profound insights.
That's right. For this deep dive, our source material, it wasn't published in some academic journal or, a think tank's report.
No.
It's a collection drawn directly from, the raw data of human interaction, everyday conversations.
Yeah, the kind you barely even notice sometimes. The ones that are just the soundtrack to your commute or fill your kitchen while you're making coffee or, punctuate your workday.
Those little bits of chat.
Exactly. So we've taken these seemingly mundane dialogue stuff about, burnt toast, spilled coffee, the weather, work stress, tiny little victories. And our mission today is to really strip them down.
Yeah, listen past the surface level.
Right. To listen past the surface level chat and uncover the fascinating details, the universal struggles, the subtle communication patterns, and honestly, the genuine human connection that's kind of hiding in plain sight. What can we actually learn about ourselves and each other just by paying closer attention to how we talk about the ordinary stuff?
It's really about recognizing that these small, sometimes fragmented exchanges, they're not just filler, are they?
No, not at all.
They're kind of the essential threads. They weave together the fabric of our daily lives. They reflect our priorities, our anxieties, our relationships, definitely our resilience too.
Okay, so let's dive in then. Let's unpack this. Where else to start but the chaos of the morning.
Always the morning.
Always the morning. The outline details this classic attempt at making breakfast. You're going for the simple stuff, right? Eggs, milk, bread. Seems straightforward enough.
Yeah, should be easy. Until, as one conversation reveals, you discover the milk is, shall we say, past its prime.
Just a little bit.
3 days past the expiration date, actually.
Yeah.
And the bread. It was described as hard as a rock.
Ooh, okay.
So instantly, the planned, simple start to the day just completely unravels.
Oh, that's a moment many of us can instantly relate to, isn't it? And the immediate, the go-to explanation for missing this vital sign of decay.
I've been so busy.
Exactly. I've been so busy. It's almost a reflex, isn't it? This sort of ubiquitous modern excuse.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's more than just a personal excuse. It feels like a shared cultural understanding now. We almost expect busy to be the reason for any oversight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the partner's response in this chat, equally valid, citing being busy with school, just reinforces how these external pressures fracture even the most basic shared routines, like keeping track of groceries.
Right. And the consequence, the plan pivots immediately. Forget the eggs, we got to grab something outside.
Which naturally leads us straight to the coffee shop. Another, staple setting for these daily interactions.
Definitely. So the conversation here, it starts with an attempt to order a medium caramel iced coffee. Okay?
Yeah.
But then it quickly morphs into a vanilla latte.
And the reason given.
My brain isn't working yet.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because it shows how this external behavior, just changing a simple coffee order, is directly linked to an internal acknowledged state, that sort of low-level fog before the caffeine kicks in.
Yeah.
It's a universally understood signal for minor cognitive impairment.
Totally. We all know that feeling.
Yeah.
And then the addition, Boston cream donut.
Yes, the classic.
Got to start the day right.
That impulse buy. But then it's immediately followed by this little micro-negotiation with oneself. Right?
Yeah, declining the whipped cream because you need to watch my sugar intake. And maybe more pointedly, you're trying to fit into my jeans.
This tiny little exchange, the donut but hold the whipped cream, it's such a perfect microcosm of, modern life, and that internal conflict so many of us navigate every single day.
Yeah, that push and pull.
Exactly. The desire for immediate comfort or pleasure. Yeah, the donut clashing directly with longer-term goals. Health, appearance, discipline, whatever it is. It reveals how these broader societal pressures really manifest in even the most trivial consumption choices.
It's not just about the sugar, is it?
No, it's about that constant push and pull we're always managing internally. It's quite revealing.
And it's in settings like this, navigating these small decisions that you run into people. One conversation includes a chance encounter with Jake, I think it was.
Right, Jake.
A classic small world moment. And what do they immediately bond over? Shared struggle, of course.
Shared misery, yeah. Jake is also running late, living apparently purely on caffeine and regret, because his breakfast was not as expected either.
Ha! Caffeine and regret. I like that. Shared misery really does breed connection, doesn't it?
It does. And Jake then offers a bagel from a very famous shop nearby.
Yeah.
It's Chester, right? Of local knowledge, maybe a bit of generosity, rooted in wanting to help a fellow struggler out.
It's a nice thought. But even this act of kindness, it gets weighed against practicalities. The bagels declined. Why? Upcoming meeting and the absolute dread of garlic breath in a professional setting.
Ah, yes. Garlic breath, the meeting killer.
Exactly. So again, the small, immediate pleasure, the potentially delicious bagel, is sacrificed for a future concern. It really highlights how our forward planning, or maybe our anxiety about future interactions, shapes our present choices constantly.
Mm-hmm. And the parting words are great, too. Wishing the subway is in their favor, or may your bagel always be perfectly toasted.
Little linguistic pats on the back.
Yeah, just brief, supportive nudges to get through the daily grind. Nice little touches.
Okay, so shifting slightly from sustenance to self-presentation, another conversation captured involves one person noticing the other's face looks kind of shiny.
Oh, the dreaded shine.
Yes, the immediate mortified realization forgetting to set your makeup. That feeling of being a disco ball, or my personal favorite from the source, a glazed donut.
Glazed donut. Such vivid, specific language, isn't it? To describe a totally relatable problem. It's not just saying, oh, I look oily. It's evoking this specific, slightly embarrassing image.
Totally. And notice the immediate response from the friend. They don't just sympathize, oh no. They offer a concrete, practical solution right there on the spot.
Blotting papers.
Yeah, blotting papers. It's a perfect example of how these casual conversations really serve as micro support networks, sharing immediate fixes for small, everyday problems based on shared experience.
Definitely. But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting, digging a bit deeper into that self-care discussion. Right after complaining about being shiny, the same person mentions their skin has been so dry lately.
How does that even work, shiny and dry?
Exactly. It seems totally contradictory on the surface, right? But the other person immediately diagnoses it. Classic combination skin. See, this isn't just trivial beauty talk. It's an example of how these casual conversations become these informal diagnostic and advice-sharing platforms for really personal issues. We sort of pool our experiences and knowledge to troubleshoot our own bodies.
And the advice isn't just general stuff like, oh, drink more water. It's specific. It's actionable.
Right. Try a hydrating serum before your moisturizer. And they even drop a brand name, Cerave, describing it as lightweight and super hydrating.
That shows the power of personal recommendation, doesn't it? And that move towards very specific shared knowledge in these exchanges. It's not just chatting. It's actually peer-to-peer.
Take us back towards the kitchen, or rather, the grocery store first.
Ah, yes, the grocery store. And a familiar lament echoes in one conversation. Why is everything here so expensive?
A sentiment I think many of us share looking at our receipts these days. And the conversation provides the reason given in that exchange. Because it's organic and ethically sourced.
Right. Which immediately elevates that simple complaint about price into something more, doesn't it? A reflection on consumer values and their direct impact on personal finances. It was encapsulated by that evocative phrase.
My wallet is crying.
My wallet is crying. Yeah, it's like a little micro-protest wrapped up in a personal cost analysis.
It really highlights that tension, doesn't it, between, say, ethical consumption or perceived health benefits and just basic affordability. The dinner plan in this chat starts simply enough. Pasta, marinara sauce, and cheese.
The ultimate comfort food classic. But again, there's pushback in the conversation. Someone says, you can't eat just carbs and cheese.
Probably true. Leading to additions like spinach and garlic. And why garlic? Because, as the source puts it so simply,
that makes everything better.
A simple, undeniable truth shared between companions. Can't argue with that.
Nope. The discussion then moves to protein, and the budget immediately comes right back into play. It's like, chicken's cheaper, but shrimp is fancier.
Yeah, the eternal dilemma. And the decision is explicitly made based on what the budget allows. They opt for chicken. It just shows how financial constraints are this constant, often unspoken, layer influencing daily decisions, even something as basic as what's for dinner.
And interestingly, circling back to that morning disaster, the failed attempt at making eggs seems to have created this lingering craving. Someone says, not having toast and scrambled eggs has made me crave it.
Yeah. Our unmet needs or desires from earlier in the day can directly shape what we want later on. It's a small example of how past experiences influence present behavior, even just a few hours later.
Okay, speaking of unmet needs and unexpected problems, another vignette details hair troubles after a workout. The description.
My hair looks like a bird's nest.
A very relatable visual for post-gym hair, right? Often made worse by forgetting the dry shampoo.
Definitely. The solution offered initially is just hair serum to calm the frizz. But the conversation quickly shifts, doesn't it? To broader, preventative advice. Maybe some sisterly wisdom here.
Yeah, seems like it. About tying hair up properly for the gym, bringing a brush, and using specific tools like a silk scrunchie and leave-in conditioner before gym sessions.
See, this isn't just a quick fix like the serum. It's an exchange of best practices, lessons learned the hard way probably. And the contrast between the outcomes is described really starkly.
How so?
Well, one person's hair looks salon fresh after following this routine, while the other's is consistently a science experiment.
Okay, that paints a picture. These anecdotes really vividly illustrate the value of the advice being shared, using humor to underscore the difference that a little strategic self-care can make.
Exactly. And speaking of science experiments gone wrong, back we go to the kitchen for another disaster mentioned in the conversations. Burnt eggs.
Oh no, not just burnt, right. The description was pretty extreme.
Yeah, burnt to a crisp, charcoal nuggets. Truly a science experiment gone wrong. The language really emphasizes the scale of the failure. It wasn't just slightly overdone.
Okay, charcoal nuggets, got it.
What's fascinating about this particular mishap, though, is its turning point. The smell of burning is apparently so strong, it actually alerts a neighbor.
Right, so what could have ended in just quiet, eggy humiliation?
Transforms into unexpected community support. The neighbor smells it, comes over, takes pity, as the source says, and invites him over for dinner.
That's amazing. It really highlights a critical function of these everyday interactions and, well, community, doesn't it? Turning moments of individual failure or embarrassment into opportunities for connection and mutual aid.
It really does. It shows that daily life isn't just the series of isolated tasks we perform alone. It's interwoven with the potential for spontaneous kindness and connection.
Okay, so moving beyond these more immediate domestic or personal moments, the food, the hair, the skincare, the sources also reveal conversations touching on the wider aspects of life. Work, relationships, aspirations.
Yeah, we see how collaboration and shared effort manifest, even in the really mundane task of cleaning a shared space.
Like the negotiation over who tackles the living room versus the kitchen.
Exactly. And the debate over snack breaks, the little mini conflict resolution around keeping old items, things from last year that they haven't touched them in months.
Oh, that argument. We've all had that one.
Right. But the key thing is, the satisfaction isn't just about the clean space itself. It's in the shared accomplishment. It was way faster together, and it feels satisfying afterward. And it's like a micro example of team dynamics and the social rewards of cooperation, even over chores.
That's a good point. And we get glimpses into personal relationships, too. Just the casual act of calling a boyfriend or the teasing over something like a green tea mask that looks intense.
But defended with, beauty takes effort.
Exactly. And importantly, the debriefing of the day's small disasters, showing the details of the expired milk and the burnt eggs again, that reinforces the bond, right? Through shared vulnerability and humor.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then there's this constant tension that I think plagues so many of us. The desire to just relax versus the imperative to work.
Oh, yeah. The conversations detail facing end-of-the-year reports, even when working from home. And the advice given is so simple, almost desperate sounding.
You must sleep enough.
Yeah. It just underscores how basic self-care, like sleep, becomes this battleground when you're facing an overwhelming workload. It feels like such a common thread in modern professional life.
And this conflict is even more stark in that debate over watching a show. Is it research, as one person claims?
Or is it a binge watch, maybe an addiction driven by sleep deprivation, as the other person teases?
That banter really highlights how we rationalize our leisure choices, doesn't it? And how quickly shared pastimes can become fodder for playful criticism, often rooted in underlying concerns about productivity and health.
True. Professional interactions are captured, too. There's a phone call asking a manager for a morning off because they're feeling under the weather.
And notice how the simple request is paired with reassurance that the report is finished and will be emailed. It shows that need to maintain professionalism and responsibility even when you're feeling unwell.
Yeah, covering your bases. And the manager's response, presumably supportive based on the interaction, reflects something about the workplace culture and expectations around taking time off for minor illnesses.
Right. The sources also reveal these moments of future aspiration and achievement, too. The excitement of getting an email about a scholarship interview is at a Korean university scheduled for February 6th.
Oh, wow. And the friend's reaction is immediate encouragement, isn't it?
Yeah, really positive. Things like, you speak Korean so fluently, your profile is very excellent, I have faith in you. These lines just demonstrate that vital role of peer support and belief when you're navigating significant life steps and ambitions. It's huge.
It really is. Business calls add another layer as well. Someone trying to reach key people, a manager and a vice director, but they're unavailable.
Right, classic phone tag. In a meeting or on a business trip. So they leave a message about discussing export contracts. It just shows the practical hurdles of corporate communication. The dependencies on other people's schedules and the slightly more formal language used even in brief messages when dealing with significant business matters.
Yeah, got to get the keywords in. And building new relationships is also present. Just the simple steps of meeting someone new. The icebreaker question, is it the first time you've come here? Exchanging numbers, sharing a drink.
These brief snippets really capture those tentative, maybe slightly formulaic, but still hopeful beginnings of connection.
Commuting, another universally relatable source of stress and conversation fodder, right? A car didn't work, which necessitates a taxi, but then they decide to go by bus together instead.
And they discuss the walk to the station, about 5 minutes, quite near our company, framing this unexpected bus ride as actually quite interesting and convenient.
It shows that adaptability, doesn't it? And maybe a positive reframing of unexpected difficulty when you face it together. It's about finding the silver lining, or at least the shared experience in the disruption.
Absolutely. And amidst all the daily grind and little stresses, there are these moments of just pure, heartwarming joy captured too.
Like the child winning a gold medal in the running competition.
Yes. Telling mom first, deciding to tell dad later, and celebrating with pizza.
Perfect. It's such a beautiful, concise illustration of family pride, a child's sort of instinctual sharing pattern, and just simple, universally understood celebration. Pizza fixes everything.
Pretty much. Then there's dinner with a friend at a new restaurant where all the dishes are apparently delicious.
That's a rare and wonderful event. Needs celebrating.
Definitely. And it's followed by that classic friendly negotiation over paying for the drink afterward. It's my treat this time versus, no, let's split it.
Those small, polite arguments over generosity and fairness, they're such a hallmark of close friendships, aren't they?
They really are. Another moment of parental pride mixed with everyday practicality. A child getting a perfect score on the previous test, a 10 in math.
Nice.
Followed immediately by the essential grounding reminder, wash your hands before eating.
Of course. It perfectly captures that parental balance, doesn't it? Celebrating the achievement while still enforcing the basic health rules. High five, now go wash up.
Exactly. Professional flexibility and mutual support appear again, too, when someone needs to reschedule a meeting because of urgent work back home.
And the response isn't annoyance, but an offer of help. Even specific assistance like preparing the car.
Yeah, it really highlights a supportive work environment, or at least supportive relationship between colleagues, where people go the extra mile for each other.
The weather, naturally, provides common ground for complaint and connection, too. Descriptions like muggy, humid, unpleasant.
Always a good topic. But even this is framed with perspective in the conversation. Doesn't last long, only about 2-3 weeks. And preferences are contrasted. Someone mentions loving cool weather. It's just a simple shared environmental experience that unites people in momentary discomfort and maybe anticipation of better conditions.
Yeah, easy small talk. Travel plans also spark conversation. Asking the distance to the next town, about 30 miles. Estimating travel time around 45 minutes depending on traffic.
And highlighting points of interest along the way. A beautiful lake, scenic views, a charming small village. It's sharing practical information, but also kind of building excitement for a potential journey.
Right. But the conversations also delve into more vulnerable territory sometimes, reflecting on feeling overwhelmed, having no time for anything because work has been crazy, and juggling so many personal tasks.
This isn't just complaining, is it? It's articulating a state of stress and maybe seeking validation or even solutions.
And the advice offered seems practical and empathetic. Things like prioritizing, delegating, asking for help, taking breaks, finding balance.
And critically, that simple, powerful reassurance, I'm here for you. It shows how these conversations function as really crucial outlets for emotional support and problem solving during stressful times.
Career dissatisfaction also surfaces. Someone feeling stuck, needing a change, wanting something more fulfilling and challenging, even considering starting a business.
Mm-hmm. And the advice given is pretty foundational. Identify your goals and your true passion. It shows how these casual chats can actually become brainstorming sessions for major life pivots, testing out ideas and receiving some initial guidance or encouragement.
Shared enjoyment and recommendation are common threads too, aren't they? Recommending a movie watched last night, calling it amazing, talking about an attractive storyline and mind-blowing special effects.
Yeah, enthusiastically encouraging the other person to watch, promising they won't be disappointed. It's all about sharing pleasure and connecting through shared cultural experiences.
But difficult and sensitive topics appear as well. Hearing rumors about a friend, someone talking behind your back, saying things that aren't very nice.
Ouch. Yeah, the immediate emotional reaction described as shocked and disappointed. But the response isn't immediate confrontation.
No, it seems more measured. A reasoned decision not to let baseless rumors ruin our relationship without concrete evidence. It highlights how we process potential conflict and navigate trust within friendships, often through careful consideration and maybe discussing it with someone else first.
Right, processing it. And then there's a really sobering piece of news shared, a 17-year-old friend being pregnant.
Yeah, that's tough. The conversation immediately focuses on the challenges, doesn't it? The young age, the huge amount of responsibility and maturity required, balancing school, personal life, and raising a child.
But while acknowledging the difficulty, the conversation seems to end with a focus on hope. Hope for support and guidance for the friend. It shows how people process unexpected, difficult news, often with concern, but also a desire for positive outcomes for the person involved.
That makes sense. Moments of vulnerability and seeking familial support are also really clear. Someone asking their mom for help when feeling overwhelmed with work and personal stuff.
And explicitly stating the need for someone to talk to, looking for strategies to manage things better. It shows the deep trust often placed in those familial bonds during crises of stress.
Yeah. And mom's response is just perfect unconditional support, isn't it? I'm here for you. We will figure it out together.
Exactly. It's not about having all the answers immediately, but about offering presence and partnership. That's often what's needed most.
Definitely. And finally, those strange, kind of delightful quirks of life. The coincidence of repeatedly running into the same person.
Ah, yes, the small world phenomena. The shared observation. It's funny how we keep running into each other twice a day, labeling it a small world or even like fate, and noting that it made it more interesting.
These little chance encounters, when you actually acknowledge them and discuss them, they kind of punctuate the routine, don't they? Add a little spark of the unexpected to the everyday.
They do. And even difficult news, like hearing about an accident, becomes a point of connection and care in these conversations. The immediate reaction is being worried.
Followed by relief that the person is okay.
Right. And the conversation reflects on how unpredictable and dangerous accidents are, which then leads to a concrete plan, arranging to visit the person to make sure they're recovering okay. It really demonstrates how compassion and community resilience can emerge from sharing and processing bad news together.
Wow. Okay. Stepping back from all these snippets, this whole deep dive into everyday conversations really lays bare just how much information, emotion, and, well, shared human experience is embedded in even the most casual exchanges.
Yeah, it really does. It's not just about the topic being discussed, is it? It's about the function of the conversation itself.
Exactly. These aren't just random words flying around. They're actual tools for problem solving. You know, the expired milk, the burnt eggs, the skincare issues.
Yeah, and for emotional processing, dealing with overwhelm, rumors, accidents. For relationship building, the teasing, the support, the shared meals.
For navigating logistical hurdles, commuting, meetings, travel plans, and even for reinforcing social norms and values like budgeting, thinking about ethical sourcing, healthy habits.
You know, it makes you think about your own day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How many similar micro interactions have you had just today? How much essential information and support was probably exchanged without you even consciously registering the deeper patterns at play?
Totally. Understanding these everyday interactions, it's not just about language acquisition or linguistics. It's about understanding the fundamental, often invisible infrastructure of daily life and connection that we build, conversation by conversation.
It kind of invites you, the listener, to become almost an ethnographer of your own life, To listen more closely to the nuances, the unspoken assumptions, the shared language of struggle and success that define your interactions.
Okay, so let's leave you with a thought to ponder then, as you move through your day and listen to the conversations around you, or maybe even reflect on your own. Given how incredibly dense and functional these seemingly simple, often fragmented daily dialogues are, carrying so much information, emotion, connection, what isn't being said?
The silences.
Right. What are the silent spaces within these interactions? The things left unexpressed due to, I don't know, time, context, intention. And how do those silences shape what we truly understand or perhaps misunderstand about each other and the world we share?
That's a fascinating dimension to consider. A lot happens in the gaps.
Indeed, it does. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this slightly different deep dive into the surprisingly complex world of everyday conversation.